What is up, nation? Today let's talk new features that are confirmed for the PlayStation 5. Hey everyone, so we are obviously getting closer and closer to that November 12th launch date for the PlayStation 5, and as we get closer to that launch date, we're getting new details that are starting to emerge about functionality of this PlayStation 5 console. I know we're still waiting to see the UI. That is not what this video is about today. We still haven't gotten a glimpse of what that final user interface is going to look like when it launches on the PlayStation 5, but we did have some details leak online from Sony's own PSN website that people were able to go through the source code and see what new lines of code that they've included in there when it comes to things like backwards compatibility on the PlayStation 5 running PlayStation 4 games. So there's certain things that references a thing called boost mode that they're going to actually be able to enable to make PS4 games run better for ones that support it. And then there's also some messages about that 1% of games that we're hearing that may not work on the PlayStation 5. So there's some info around that as well. And in addition to that, we got another peek behind the curtain when it comes to what the party system is going to look like on this PlayStation 5, how many players it supports, and then even the hint of cross-generational parties being a thing. So if you're on the PlayStation 5 but your buddy didn't get his console, you guys will hopefully, from the sounds of it, still be able to interact and be in the same party when it comes down to these games. So we're going to dive through all the details now. Before we do, I just want to quickly invite everybody to join Sunbro Nation. If you haven't done so already, do so by subscribing below. Hit the like button on this video if you do enjoy the content, and then make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up with all the new news as it comes out in relation to the console launches and different games as we walk into this new exciting season. So with that, guys, let's get into the details. All right, so let's read through the details of this Push Square article that will kind of set us up for what to expect when it comes to these new features on the PlayStation 5. Sony's not telling us a huge amount about the PlayStation 5 at the present, so leave it up to intrepid code junkies to extract the information out of the platform holder. New code uncovered on the web-based version of the PlayStation Store teases some tantalizing new features we can expect to find on the next-gen console come launch. First and foremost, it looks like wishlist will finally be integrated into the console, as there's a line of code that states your wishlist isn't available on this website. You can find it on a PS5. In addition, it looks like you'll be able to create parties with up to 100 people and share music and playlists with pals. There's also reference to something called Takedown, but we're not sure what that entails yet. Elsewhere, it looks like backwards compatible titles that support PS5's boost mode feature will be marked as such, where there will be a warning for the 1% of PS4 games that aren't playable on the next-gen console. Interestingly, there's also reference to a page on the official PlayStation website fully detailing backwards compatibility, but it's currently offline. So it sounds like there's a few different cool things to look forward to in that. One thing that really popped out to me that I'm glad Sony's doing, especially with their stance on making the old generation separate from the new generation, as they first went on record and said, and kind of backtracked a little bit, honestly, because they did then come out later and say that these games that they were saying were only possible with the power of the PS5 are actually also launching on the PS4. So they did kind of backtrack from that, but originally they were very much on record and very much forward about saying how one console generation should end so the next one can begin, and then that evolution will take place and kind of push us further forward into the future if we accept that. Now, I am for that in the long term, but I think you have to have that transitional period where you're still supporting content on the old console, especially in a situation like we're seeing now, where really clearly the demand for the PlayStation 5 is not going to be able to be met. So there's going to be a lot of consumers that are just waiting to get their hands on one, and you might be best friends with somebody that you play online with all the time that was able to get their hands on one, but you were not, and it sounds like you're going to be taken care of because the online party chat system will be cross-generational. So you can send a request to join your party from, if you're on the PS4, you can still send that request or receive that request to a PS5 and vice versa. So it sounds like for our friends list out there, that I'm sure that not everybody will be able to get a PS5 on day one. We're still going to be able to play online on games with them and in the same party. We'll just obviously be limited by whether or not they have access to a game that might be exclusive to the PlayStation 5. But that was cool to see. Then when it comes to things like up to 100 people in a party, I think that's really interesting. I mean, that's a ton of people. I can't even imagine everybody being able to talk whenever there's a 100-person party. So I think that seems a little bit excessive, but I think it's more for, maybe something like a Fall Guys where you're all going through the same stage. Like maybe you could now have exclusively play with your friends or friends of friends that are all invited just to that party. So they're obviously just raising the limit because the PS5 is going to be capable of running that many users in the same party with no problem. I don't think that there's going to be a ton of 100 people parties out there, but there might be. So we'll see what happens with that. But it's cool that they're upping the amount of players that can be in a party at once, and then it looks really cool that they're going to actually let us go ahead and share things like music playlists and different tracks. Like if you like a song and it's playing while you're playing your game, you can now share that track info to another PS5 user. So that's another nice little feature that they're including. And then the big thing that I think is notable is boost mode, which is obviously going to be referencing the upscaling or better frame rate, better resolution of existing PlayStation 4 titles. And it does sound like they've built in, error code for whenever your title's not supported on the PlayStation 5, which is really just supposed to be 1%. But Sony is officially calling their PS4 upscaling boost mode, which now has that name due to what's titled into this code, and it sounds like it does what you would expect it to do. It's the same game, but it's going to boost performance, and whether that comes down to frame rate or resolution, it's going to streamline those things for you, and now we know what to call it due to this article. I will be interested to see whenever this official PlayStation website that's already up actually goes live, because at that point we should probably see a list of titles that out of the gate will not be supported on the PlayStation 5 from the PS4. So I know that that's a hot button issue for a lot of fans. Like the ideal scenario is if you have to sell your PS4 console for some reason to get the PS5, that you can do that and not have to worry about losing any functionality that you had on the PS4. So as of right now, it sounds like it's a very small number of games, but I would expect Sony to go live with that site at some point and then to actually detail which games are being left out of the gate. I don't have any speculation on which ones might not be able to run on the new console, but I would imagine that it's going to be hopefully less popular titles that not as many hardcore fans are into. I mean, if we saw like something like Ghost of Tsushima, which was just a huge hit on the PS4, not be able to be played on the PlayStation 5, I'd be very surprised by that. I think we're going to see the smaller titles that are maybe more obscure, maybe some indie titles that weren't quite as big, that maybe aren't optimized out of the gate, but that does remain to be seen, and we'll still have to wait for Sony to make that website go live so we can hopefully get a list of what's not coming over day one. But then they did clearly state also in this line of code that to check back in the future. So it sounds like it's something that maybe with software updates they're going to be able to outline or streamline the software rather, and fix any of those compatibility issues that we might run into when the console first launches. And then the one thing that was on the article, but it sounds like we don't really know what to expect with it yet, is a thing called Takedown. So I'd be curious to know. Leave me a comment below if you guys have any speculations on what that takedown mode might be. I personally don't have anything that comes to mind. When I hear the term takedown, I don't really think of any specific console feature or anything that I can think that would be referencing in the code. So I'd love to know if any of the fans out there have a different opinion on that, but that just sounds like something that's not maybe fleshed out yet, or that we just haven't heard of yet, because Sony likes to take their sweet time with revealing things like the user interface and the final details of this console. It seems like they're maybe still figuring out some of the stuff as they go. It's maybe them just making like final last minute revisions to the software before it launches, so they want to make sure it's of the best quality before they're showing it off. According to a Instagram post, Travis Scott already has this PlayStation 5, so maybe it is finalized and we just don't know. Or there's more than likely, even if it is, that it's going to be like a day one software update. They often do that with new consoles, especially now with the internet. You can fix a bunch of things that you found out were broken after the console shipped with a day one update. But hopefully we're not having to download a huge file the minute that we plug in our PlayStation 5s and try to play a game. But obviously Sony hasn't really revealed the final details of what this console can do when it's hooked up and ready to go. but we don't know what takedown mode is. Hopefully we'll get more details on that later, but it will be interesting to see because we don't have that much longer to go, everyone. We are approaching October 1st as we speak, and we will literally be a month and 12 days away from the new console launch. So it sounds like it's still going to be pretty limited release from the stock issues that are going on out there, but hopefully everybody watching the video is either planning on getting a pre-order done as soon as the next wave becomes available, or best case scenario, hopefully you already have one locked down. So, but with that, I am definitely excited to see what else Sony's going to reveal to us in the upcoming weeks. Thanks so much for sticking around to the end of the video, everyone. I do truly appreciate it. I did at this point in the video want to invite you all to leave me a comment and make sure you let me know what you're most excited about in these new feature set that we talked about today. Are you going to use the cross-platform party chat? Is the boost mode something that you didn't know or expect? Or is this all kind of stuff that you were really kind of expecting to be in the new console anyway? Also, bonus, leave me a comment for if you got your PS5 pre-order locked down yet, and if it's for day one or if it's going to be for a day later than that. But with that, guys, I'm going to end the video here. Just wanted to quickly remind everybody one more time, if you haven't done so already, to go ahead and subscribe to Sunbro Nation by hitting the subscribe button below. Go ahead and turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the latest news as it comes out, and hit the like button on this video if you did enjoy the content. With that, guys, I'm going to end the video here. You all have a great day. Sunbro Nation, out.